The story begins with a boy named Mitch moving into a student accommodation with his brother. Already, he started to feel like he hadn't been given all the details of the property when he noticed a large black mold stain in the basement of his property that seemed to be untreated by the housing company. He takes no note of it and decides to introduce himself to everybody before heading to bed. That night, he feels a great sense of uneasiness in his half-conscious state as he feels that someone is in his room with him. He wakes the next morning and asks if his brother liked the new accommodation, to which his brother replies that he found it quite hard to sleep because he felt like someone was watching him, but just thought that he was getting used to having to share a building with other people that he didn't know that well. Mitch then goes through the day again, with nothing out of the ordinary happening. Mitch then falls into the arms of slumber, but as the night passes, he suddenly wakes up to see that his door is open and that there are shoe marks of black substance surrounding them going out of his room. Mitch immediately got a knife from the kitchen and stays up for the rest of the night, waiting for the intruder to possibly come back. In the morning, Mitch questions everyone in the accommodation, including his brother, about the incident, but then they respond by claiming to not know anything. Mitch then follows where the footprints went, and they appear to go into the basement before disappearing completely. At this point, Mitch is highly distraught and phones his parents, but they say they can only pick him up tomorrow, as they live very far away, and since Mitch doesn't have enough money to stay anywhere else, he has to spend one last night in his room again. That night, Mitch set up his phone in the basement's poster corner, so his phone would hopefully blend in with the background and catch the culprit, if they dared to make an appearance again. That night, Mitch felt nothing unusual happened. Maybe it was the fact that he stayed up until 4 AM, or that he had enough alcohol in him to clean the dirtiest toilet seat, or maybe it was due to him being immensely tired from the previous night. Either way, Mitch slept without a single thing waking him up. The next morning, Mitch felt a great pain in his head and his whole body, which he blamed on the drinking from the night before. After his subsequent visit to the bathroom, he went to investigate his phone to see if he had captured anything. It had captured something which he would have never have expected. Around 2 AM in the morning, the black mold started to morph like a sink flushing away a liquid. However, the mold eventually spat out a large humanoid, which was entirely black except for its face, which was a dark blue colour except for its eyes, which seemed to be entirely black. This figure then came over to the phone and knocked it over before the recording stopped. Mitch then scrolled down to see if there was anything else on the camera of the phone, and noticed a picture of the creature looking down at the phone, with the accompanying student merchandise on the wall behind it. Mitch then scrolled to the final recording on his phone. The phone was back in its original position with the creature coming down the stairs with Mitch's brother in its hands. He appeared to be either unconscious or dead, with a visible blood mark on his shirt. This creature then took Mitch's brother into the mold with a horrific gurgling sound. When the video stopped, Mitch ran to his brother's room, which was already open, to which he discovered nothing except for a kidney in a black liquid. Another student then entered into the room after hearing all the commotion that Mitch had been making. They started screaming when they saw Mitch. Mitch's shirt was painted in the same black liquid as well as his own blood as well. It was his own kidney he had found. Thank you for listening to my Creepypasta reading and my own interpretation of this story. Please check out the original. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.